Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and I don't have a process or a tutorial video for you today. Instead, I have a showcase video because, to be honest, when I sat down to make these cards, I was not really sure how they would turn out because I'm really trying to exercise my clean and simple designing muscle. And so I just wasn't super confident that I would love these cards enough to share a tutorial video on them. But I feel like they turned out pretty good. And so I'd like to somehow feature them on my channel. And so I thought maybe a showcase would be a good way to do that. These are featuring the new release from Crafty Meraki called Whimsical Magnolias. And it's actually, so what the new part of the release is the prestacular plate. So that's been letterpressed into 100% cotton card. And the layered stencil set that helps you to color it in super easily, super quickly, and get that dimension and get a lot of that really lovely shadows and highlights. And so I've got it kind of in two ways. I'm cheating a little bit. I'm still using this crutch of using an embossed or textured background. So in this case of this card, this is an embossed panel. And then in the case of this card, this is actually a cover die that I cut out of white and then just layered it on top of more white. So it looks like it's an embossed panel, but it's actually a die cut. And I love using an embossed panel in this way because it just helps to fill in all of that white space, which I'm still a little bit uncomfortable with leaving. I know strict, clean and simple designers would say that that's a little bit of a cheat. Really, it should just be all white. But I really am making small steps towards that. So this one I made first with a little bit of wood grain here, and then I decided, well, since the Whimsical Magnolia set has so many branches of flowers, I decided to make a second one. And instead of wood grain, I just used plain white. And I really like it. See, I'm kind of taking small steps towards towards clean and simple, but I actually really like this a lot. It helps to still break up the background a little bit and gives me a landing spot for my sentiment, much in the same way I was using this one, but I actually I like the white version better even. So yeah, I'm getting there on clean and simple. So the Whimsical Magnolia Prestacular plates are a new part of the collection because Whimsical Magnolia is the exact same design you can find as a stamp set with a coordinating die set, and you can get EAP, which is effortless artistry papers, and those are pre-colored, pre-printed designs, all the same. And so it's really great that you have a whole line of products with the Whimsical Magnolia designs. So then my next one, again, just trying to flex some clean and simple muscle here. This is a monochromatic card, and what I did was I took the new Feathered Friends Prestacular plate. This is a really large design because this card is 5x7. And actually I had to trim off a little bit. I think I trimmed a little bit off of the left and the far right, and then a little bit in between. If you didn't trim at all, I believe the design is about 5 inches wide. And it's a really lovely scene with these two birds. What I did was press it into 100% cotton card, and then I did a little bit of spot watercoloring. So I pressed it with a VersaFine Clear ink, and then I found a ink that was water soluble. For me, I happen to like Versa Magic ink, And it wasn't the exact same color as my VersaFine Clear, but it was something pretty close. It turned out pretty well. It looks very, very monochromatic, a very good fit to the outline. And I just chose to color in certain areas. So I didn't want to color everything. I wanted to leave a lot of white, and it took some time to color this all in, because watercoloring I like to do in I think they call it glazing, where you just do a wash of color, and then normally you would just layer different colors onto it. But I just use the same color, so this is all one color, and I just added layer and layer until I built up some of the shadows, some of the highlights, and that way I can still offer like a little bit of dimensionality and have a little bit of making this look not so flat, basically, without having to introduce a lot of different colors. And then that took a little bit of time to do, so it was really, really hard to then cut it into thirds to make this triptych design. This is really hard to cut into, but it is just paper after all. And I knew going into the watercoloring, I think this was the key. I knew going into the watercoloring that I was going to do this design. I don't know that I've ever done this before, and I can't remember if I've seen it specifically from another designer, but I probably have. I don't think, especially in like art, fine art, I've definitely seen things like this. So it's not anything new that I've come up with. So I knew when I started my coloring that I would have to cut into it, and it's really simple, easy. I think that was probably the hardest part, was bringing myself to cut into it. So I did trim, as I mentioned, a little bit off of either side, and I cut a little bit in the center, like between these two panels, because it wasn't exactly the 1/4 inch gap that I have, but it's probably 1/8 of an inch. And that way it makes it feel a little bit more seamless, so that the image still looks like it's in the right proportion. Because if you just cut it and you didn't trim anything off, you just cut it and then you put the two panels together, it would look like, and it kind of still does, right? Because this isn't an exact cut, but it kind of looks like this part is wider than it should be. And so that's why I did trim a little bit off, just enough so that I can have that even spacing all the way around. And I've got probably some of my favorite sentiments are the Meraki Moments sentiments. It's a really nice, again, another system of products where you can get half oil plate, you can get standalone dies, and you can get stamp sets all in the same font, and they all work really well together. So really fabulous. I had a lot of fun with this one. One of the things with Clean and Simple, I feel, is that sometimes it can take just as long or maybe even longer than a more intricate card, because there is so little going on. You really, or at least I feel like I really want to make sure everything is spot on, because there's no room to hide, because it's so simple that you can't hide any mistakes. And so a lot of times for me, it actually can take longer than something like a pop-up card or a kinetic card. This is my last card, and it features a new Prestacular plate design called Petal Poetry, and it actually has separate floral clusters. So let's see, I have some extras here. So there's a large one, and that's the one that I colored in. And then there's also smaller clusters. So there's some portions that are just leaves, there's some portions that are just buds, and then here's sort of like a medium-sized cluster. And so you can color those up and arrange them however you'd like, and make as large of a spray as you would like. I kind of had this idea of layering black and white behind a full colored version. And I really like how that turned out, just that contrast of having something full color on top of everything else being black and white. And for this one, I colored using color pencils, which I had never done onto cotton card, but it actually works out really well because cotton card does have a bit of a tooth to it. So you can really build up layers, you can really mix your colors, and I think it turned out really nice. So again, I used my little cheat, my little crutch of adding an embossed panel on the back, and I think that maybe I didn't really need to do that on this one just because the florals do cover up so much, but it just adds another bit of interest to it and a little bit of visual texture. And this is another Meraki Moments sentiment die set. I love these die sets because there's actually even a third shadow, a third layer, which can be a second shadow layer behind what I've already assembled here. So really, really fabulous. I just really love the scripty font, and I just love how everything works so well together. So if you want to see any of the products that I mentioned, I will list them in the description box below. We have new Prestacular plates. The first is Whimsical Magnolias, a continuation of a design that is already on the Crafty Meraki website. So if you want to check that out, you can now find the Prestacular plates and coordinating layered stencils to color them up. The same goes for these two new designs. You'll be able to find the Prestacular plate, a coordinating stencil, the coordinating stamp, which gives you the exact same design, and coordinating die to cut everything out. And this one is called Feathered Friends, which is new, and this one is called Petal Poetry, which is new. And the nice thing about both, really all of these, is that you have one plate, and whether it's multiple elements that get cut out or just a single element, it is all one plate, one die, one stamp. So you can get, it's really quick to either press out your design or stamp out your design in one go, and then using a single die, cut it all out in one go. Really, really awesome, fast crafting. So again, links to everything in the description box below. And I think I'm gonna do this card again, or at least use this technique again, and maybe I'll have a video on that one. Maybe this one too. I kind of like the color pencil work onto cotton card. So I kind of wish that I had actually filmed these, the making of these cards. Now that I see that they've turned out pretty good and I'm really happy with them. So I'll just have to film another future tutorial and sort of case my own designs here. Thanks again, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.